They never warned you about the quiet knives, the ones hidden behind friendly smiles, waiting for the first sign of trust. You thought you were part of their circle, protected by laughter and shared ambition. But beneath every cheer was calculation. Every "I'm proud of you" was surveillance. They studied you, not to understand, but to measure. The day they realized your potential outweighed their comfort, the ground shifted. You didn't lose them. They lost control of you. And that's when they decided you were no longer the friend. You were the threat they couldn't contain. It starts a sudden silence when you enter the room. Eyes that flicker away too fast. Compliments that feel like warning. The same people who once called you brother or sister now speak your name like it's a problem to be solved. They don't fear your failures. They feed on them. What terrifies them is your awakening. The moment you stop apologizing for the fire inside your mind, they built their peace on your obedience. The day you questioned it, they called you arrogant. The day you started winning, they called you dangerous. That's when the truth hit you like a blade to the chest. You were never the target. You were the weapon they tried to blunt. You can still taste the bitterness of that realization, the aftertaste of betrayal mixed with the metallic tang of awakening. Every memory replays in a colder light now. The laughs that were never genuine, the advice meant to disarm you, the pity disguised as friendship. You see it all for what it was, a containment strategy. They didn't want you destroyed. They wanted you domestic. Easier to predict, easier to manage. But the problem with caging fire is that it still burns. You stayed quiet for too long, mistaking restraint for peace, humility for weakness. Now you understand silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. They thought breaking you would erase your will. But pain didn't weaken you. It introduced you yourself. You stopped chasing validation and started observing. You began to notice how easily people fold when they feel unseen, how fast loyalty evaporates under pressure. That was your first lesson in power. Never beg for it, never announce it, become it. Let them underestimate the calm. Let them mock the patient, because storms never explain themselves before they strike. You learn that power lives in restraint, in the invisible muscles behind a still expression, in the way you hold your gaze and say nothing while others unravel to fill the silence. Now you walk differently, speak, you listen more. There's a new weight in your presence that unsettles those who once towered over you. They can't name it, they feel it. The quiet threat of someone who's done being. The truth is simple. You don't need revenge. You are revenge. Every step, every breath, every calm response is proof that they failed to. The betrayal didn't end you. It introduced you to the version of yourself they were never meant to meet. The one who doesn't flinch. The one who doesn't chase. One who finally understands. Comfort kills, silence wins, weakness bleeds. Weakness doesn't arrive as an intruder. It grows quietly, like mold in a sealed room, feeding on still air, on comfort, on your hesitation to face yourself. It waits behind every small decision you postpone, every apology you give when you weren't wrong, every promise you make to start tomorrow. It calls itself peace, but it's sedation, and you've swallowed it for years, mistaking stillness for control while your edge dulled in silence. You weren't losing strength, you were trading it piece by piece for the illusion of safety. Weakness begins with comfort, the soft bed that keeps you from moving, the familiar pain that feels better than unknown power. You tell yourself you're recovering, but what you're really doing is rotting in luxury. Your ancestors bled for survival, you scroll for distraction. The fire that once forged entire empires now flickers behind a screen glow. You fear discomfort like it's death itself, but comfort has already buried you. Alive, compliant, forgettable. Then comes approval, the most elegant poison. You crave to be seen, so you dress your truth in masks that fit the crowd. You laugh when you don't find it funny. You agree when your gut screams no. You bend, thinking it's kindness, but it's corrosion. Every yes you didn't mean carves another notch in your spine until it forgets how to stand straight. Approval feels warm, but it chains you to mediocrity. Because when everyone likes you, it means you've hidden the parts of you that could have terrified them. The next layer of weakness is distraction, the constant noise you call connection. Notifications, validation, false urgency. It feels productive, but it's anesthesia for ambition. You've turned your mind, the sharpest weapon you own, into a feedback machine for strangers. The system is designed to keep you predictable, docile, endlessly entertained. They've learned that the most efficient leash isn't metal, it's dopamine. You carry it willingly in your pocket. Weakness feeds on routine that never risks failure. On the story, you tell yourself that one day you'll begin. You won't. Not until something breaks. Violent. Transformation is born in rupture, not reassurance. You don't sharpen a blade by hugging it. You drag it across stone until it screams. And maybe that's why the world fears silence. Because silence is where the cutting starts. It's where excuses echo and die. You've been taught to avoid the edge, to be reasonable, patient, polite. But power doesn't bloom in politeness. It blooms in isolation, in defiance, in the cold understanding that no one is coming to save you. Weakness wants a savior, strength becomes one. You were not built to be soothed. You were built to endure the burn until it reveals what's beneath. So, look at yourself, not as you appear, but as what's decaying underneath your comfort. Every second you hesitate, something inside you starves. Weakness isn't an enemy to fight, it's a parasite to starve. And it only dies when you stop feeding it approval, distraction, and fear. The truth is simple, brutal, and final. Comfort kills. They don't build cages out of metal anymore. They build them out of comfort, attention, and noise. You wake up and check a screen before you check your pulse. You scroll, compare, obey. The algorithm studies you like prey tracking, every hesitation, every weakness, every secret desire you try to hide. It doesn't punish you, it rewards you. That's how the trap works. Pleasure first, paralysis second. You call it freedom because it smiles when it takes from you. They taught you to seek warmth, not awareness, to chase approval instead of control. Every system around you thrives on your predicament. Your need to belong, be seen, to be liked. You post what they'll applaud. You say what won't get you silent. You shrink where you should have grown. And every time you flinch, they mark you. Every time you settle, they win. Because the truth is brutal, society doesn't destroy threats, it sedates them. They told you loyalty is virtue, but loyalty without awareness, they'll call you family while sharpening the blade behind your back. You'll laugh with them at the table while they take notes on your tells, your ambitions, your fears, your limits. The most dangerous enemy is not the one who hates you, it's the one who understands you, the one who claps for you just loud enough to keep you tame. You've been taught to trust the light, but light blinds too. You stop noticing the shadows, those moments where you sensed something wrong but ignored it because it was inconvenient. That feeling wasn't paranoia. It was your instinct gasping for air under layers of politeness and distraction. You buried it to stay normal, but normal is the coffin they built for people who could have been unstoppable. You've been trained to overshare, to broadcast every plan before it breathes. You hand your enemies your map and wonder why they arrive first. You announce, they observe. You pause, they prepare. Power is lost in word. Silence, though, it's unpredictable. And unpredictability is terror to the manipulator. It's the moment they can't forecast, can't measure, can't control. You start to notice patterns, the same faces, same promises, same empty comfort. That's when the mind trap begins to crack. You stop reacting, you start watching. The world slows down, you hear the tone under the words, the motive behind the smile, the hunger behind the handshakes. You stop needing validation and start collecting. They think you've gone quiet because you're lost. They don't realize silence is surveillance. That's when fear flips. You no longer fear isolation. You crave it. You study human nature like a weapon. You learn that control isn't domination. It's awareness. It's patience. It's the refusal to be moved by noise. You start to see the design, how everything built to keep you entertained was meant to keep you asleep. But not anymore. Because once you see the cage, you can't unsee it. And once you stop performing, the system panics. It doesn't know how to handle someone who can't be predicted. You were never their target. You were the threat they couldn't contain. You don't heal. You rearm. You sit in the ruins of your former self, surrounded by the quiet echoes of every lie you once believed. The friends who said they'd stay vanished. The ones who smiled, plotted, and the voice in your head that whispered comfort. That was the first traitor. You finally understand there is no redemption in softness. The only cure for pain is precision. You start moving differently, not fast, not loud, calculated. You're not rebuilding, recalibrating. You stop explaining. Words are currency, and you've been bankrupt too long. You let silence speak. Every unanswered text, every withheld reaction, every calm stare, they become your artillery. You learn that silence isn't absence, it's control. When you stop feeding people with your energy, they starve for your chaos. That's when you see it. Your stillness rattles them more than your rage ever did. You've turned restraint into a weapon. Silence wins. Patience follows, not the kind that waits, but the kind that watches. You learn the ancient law. Time bends for those who don't chase it. You no longer rush outcomes or force opening. You let others reveal their pattern. You see their tells, insecurity disguised as confidence, attention wrapped in virtue. You watch, record, and wait. A predator doesn't announce the hunt. It studies the wind, the terrain, the heartbeat of its prey. Your patience is no longer passive, it's predatory. You begin training your unpredictability. You stop being readable, even to yourself. You switch routes, alter rhythms, detach from routine. You realize predictability is how they tracked you before, your kindness, your eagerness, your patterns of hope. So you erase them. You become a cipher, a ghost within your own schedule. The weak rely on patterns because they fear uncertainty. You use it to choke your enemies in confusion. You are the storm they can't predict, the shadow that changes shape. Then comes the cruelty, the kind that saves you. You stop rescuing what refuses to grow. You cut ties, not in anger, but in clarity. You endure the guilt like a soldier feels recoil. Momentary, necessary. You realize mercy without merit is weakness disguised as morality. You no longer seek to be understood, you seek to be untouchable. That is your counterattack, not revenge. Evolution. Each night becomes a quiet ritual. You sharpen your mind, dissect your fears, polish your composure until it reflects nothing. You learn to smile in stillness, not because you're healed, but because nothing can wound you twice. You've replaced reaction with response, impulse with strategy. You carry yourself like a storm in remission, aware of the damage you could cause, but choosing when, where, and how. Now, when they speak your name, it trembles differently. They can't label you. Too quiet to read, too patient to provoke, too unpredictable to defeat. You've turned every scar into signal fire, every silence into sermon. You are not healed. You are armed. Silence, patience kills. And you don't chase peace anymore. You command it. Pain changes shape when you stop flinching. At first, it's chaos, noise, heat, betrayal. But if you hold still long enough, you'll hear the code inside it. Every wound speaks in a pattern. Who caused it, why, and what part of you let it happen. Pain doesn't destroy you. It files away your weaknesses like a craftsman sharpening a blade. You used to run from it, desperate for numbness, mistaking quiet for... Now you understand. Comfort was the true poison. Pain was the cure wearing a cruel face. You remember the betrayal that first cracked you open. The moment someone smiled while twisting the knife. The echo of laughter that didn't match the words. That was your awakening. Because in that silence after the hurt, you realized something terrifying could survive it. And once survival was no longer uncertain, fear lost its power. You started to collect your scars like sacred runes, each one proof that you had faced chaos and refused to break. The people who broke you taught you something their comfort never could. That pain is a language the strong learn to speak fluently. You began to document it, every slight, every rejection, every look of dismissal, not out of bitterness but precision. You kept a ledger in your mind, a record of suffering turned into strategy. Each betrayal became an equation, each humiliation a blueprint. You dissected the ache until it lost its teeth. You stopped saying, "Why me?" and started asking, "What now?" Because that's the question of the hunter, not the prey. Pain became your fear, became rehearsal. Shame became ammunition. You no longer drowned in emotion, you weaponized. And something changed in your presence. Your silence grew heavier, your gaze sharper. Those who once mocked your softness now sense something different. A stillness that makes them uneasy. They can't name it, but they feel it. You have seen too much to be deceived by surface kindness. You have learned that true composure is forged in private agony. You wear it quietly, like armor no one can see. And when life tests you now, you don't pray for mercy. You smile because every new wound is another inscription on the weapon you've become. There's an ancient symmetry in suffering. Every civilization carved gods out of pain, bleeding saints, crucified kings, warriors rising from ash. They understood what most forget. Only through pain does form meet purpose. You are no different. The betrayals were your ritual, the heartbreak, your initiation. Pain didn't visit you to punish you. It came to refine you. And the moment you stopped begging for relief, you started to glow in the dark. Because pain, when mastered, emits a quiet light only predators recognize. Now, when you walk into a room, no one remembers who hurt you. They only feel the echo of what you survived. Your scars speak in frequencies the weak can't hear. Your calm is no longer peace, it's precision. You've turned agony into alignment, wounds into warning signs for others to keep their distance. You've stopped bleeding, now you carve. You walk into every room differently now. The air bends around you, though no one can explain why. You used to shrink when eyes found you, mistaking their gaze for approval, mistaking attention for acceptance. But that version of is dead, buried in silence. What rose in its place doesn't chase validation. It hunts power. You don't enter spaces to be seen anymore, you enter to measure them. Every detail, every word, every breath becomes data. Your calm is a weapon, your stillness, a blade. They used to mock your quiet, call it insecurity, shyness, weakness. But they didn't understand silence as reconnaissance. When they filled the room with noise, you mapped their weakness. When they performed, you observed. They were addicts of recognition. You were studying addiction itself. You learned that the loudest man in the room is always the emptiest, and the one who smiles the most often hides the sharpest envy. You stopped reading. That was the first transformation. Detachment. The discipline to starve your emotions until only logic remained. Now, your presence unsettles them. It's not arrogance, it's precision. You move slower, speak less, but every word lands with gravity. Your eyes don't wander. You've learned to hold still until others flinch. Power isn't about talking over people, it's about watching them betray their insecurities in real time. You recognize the twitch before the lie, the hesitation before the excuse, the micro-expression before the manipulation. You no longer fight for dominance. You make others surrender to their own In predator mode, you no longer chase outcome. You set traps of patience. You let others reveal themselves, then decide when to strike. The old you wanted victory now. The new you understands. Real victory is timing. You've learned that patience isn't waiting, it's control. The hunter doesn't rush the prey, it lets the prey move closer, blinded by its own safety. That's how silence kills, not loudly but cleanly. You carry betrayal like an heirloom. Every scar became a coordinate, every disappointment a navigation point. You've stopped seeking revenge, you're beyond it. The world's cruelty no longer shocks you, it informs you. You operate in shadows because visibility is vulnerability. The fewer people who understand you, the harder it is for anyone to predict you. They fear what they can't categorize. Let them. Fear is leverage. The ancient predators never roared, they watched. The warriors of old didn't boast. They waited in silence until movement became fatal. You belong to that lineage. You stripped away softness, learned to smile without warmth, and mastered the art of disappearing in plain sight. There's no applause in your path, only results. You no longer need to prove anything. You simply arrive, and the atmosphere changes. You are no longer the hunted. You are the storm they never see coming. Quiet, calculated, and merciless. Your silence is not, it's preparation. And every step you take now echoes one truth. They should have left you sleeping. The storm is past, but the silence it left behind is heavier than the chaos ever was. You stand in that stillness, the kind that doesn't comfort, only reminds. Every sound feels distant now, as if the world itself knows what you've become. There's no applause waiting, no redemption arc, no soft glow of validation, just you and the echo of everything you had to burn to get here. Before, you sought peace. Now you understand that peace is simply the space where predators reload. You used to crave recognition, mistaking attention for respect, but now you move without announcement. The loud ones still mistake noise for power. You learned in blood that the real kings move like ghosts. Every step measured, every silence deliberate. You let them underestimate. It's the most efficient form of camouflage. Once, your name was currency in the mouths of others. Now, it's a whisper. You allow only when it benefits. You are not hiding, you are calculating. The people who once called you too much now call you cold. They feel the difference but can't name it. You don't speak of betrayal anymore. It's beneath you. Betrayal was the tuition for clarity, and you've paid in full. The ones who left you bleeding taught you where the knife goes. Now you keep it close, not to wound, but to remind yourself that mercy has a price. You're not heartless, you're precise. You understand now that love without vigilance is a liability. Power doesn't roar, it hums beneath your skin. You no longer chase outcomes, you engineer them. You learn that true control isn't in domination, but detachment. To walk through fire and not flinch, to lose and not fold, to be watched and not react. That's master. Silence terrifies them because it means you've stopped needing anything from them. And the moment you stop needing, you become untouchable. They can talk, twist, pretend. They can't penetrate calm that's built from ruin. There are no more heroes here, only players and survivors. You stop confusing morality with weakness the day you realize that purity doesn't protect, it exposes. Now your empathy has teeth. You help when it serves justice, not when it pleases guilt. You observe patterns, not promises. You know that loyalty isn't proven in comfort, it's tested in crisis. And when the world burns again, as it always does, you'll move through the smoke untouched because you've already died once and came back fluent in shadows. So you stand in this quiet aftermath, eyes open, pulse steady. You see how everything connects, the pain, the betrayal, the hunger. It was never punishment, it was preparation. The war outside is loud, but the real battlefield was always within. And now, your mind doesn't flinch, your heart doesn't plead, your silence doesn't beg. It commands. You were never the target, you were the threat. Comfort kills, silence wins, weakness. Which one are you?